You will hear me muttering to myself because I am talking into the microphone. You are allowed to work with each other. You can get into groups. I do not care. But bear in mind, at 12:40, I'm going to be walking around to see how much you have done of the stuff that is being marked. Because if it is all blank, and then you try to tell me you got 21 out of 21, I'm going to know you are a liar. Okay? Carry on. All right. Surface area of a cone is 1,200 centimeters squared. The radius is 5. Find the slant height. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r slant. Fill in what you know. The surface area is 1,200. 1,200 equals pi times the r. Radius is 5. So 5 squared plus pi times 5 times s. Now I need to find the slant height, which means I must isolate s. So let's do that. 1,200 equals 25 pi, 5 squared, plus 5 pi slant. Now, quick reminder, 2x plus 3 equals 7. What do you do here? You get x by itself. So this 3 has to move. So you subtract 3, gone. So now you have 2x equals 7 minus 3. Then you divide by 2, gone. Divide by 2. X equals 7 minus 3 divided by 2. 7 minus 3 is 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. You're going to do the same thing here. You need s alone, so you better start far away from s like we did here. This is positive 25 pi, so I must subtract 25 pi. Now that is gone. If I take it from one side, I have to take it from the other side. Minus 25 pi. And I rewrite it because I'm not lazy, and if I write it out, I can't do it wrong. 1,200 minus 25 pi equals 5 pi slant. So that gets me to here. That is that. Now, I divided by 2 because it was 2 times x. Well, this is 5 times pi times s. So I must divide by 5 pi on both sides. That cancels. Now s is by itself. And this side is 1,200 minus 25 pi over 5 pi. And you do that on your calculator. Because this has operations in the numerator, you will go bracket. 1,200 minus 25 pi. Now some of you need to push times pi there. Divided by bracket 5 pi. You will close brackets. Equals 71.4. You don't have to whisper. You can just talk. It's okay. You will not break my concentration. I am a ninja. I really am. I have a black belt in karate. Yes. I do. So does my wife and both children. Don't cross us. We'll kill you. Because my dojo doesn't believe in all that. Oh, it's only for self-defense. We practice a crap ton of fighting. What? Yes. I have nunchucks, I have a bow, I have tunfa, and I have sai.
Do you have ninja stars?
No, they're not a real thing. The volume of a cylinder equals pi r squared h. You know the volume is 500. You know the h is 20. So that's exactly what he said, word for word.
And then you could just go straight to yards if you want.
Now,
Yeah, okay.
this is pi times r squared times 20. How do I get rid of the times 20? I divide by 20. So I divide by 20. Now I have 25 equals pi r squared. How do I get rid of times pi? I divide by pi. So now I have 25 over pi equals r squared. How do I get rid of r squared? Same way I get rid of it in Pythagoras. I square root and I square root. So r equals the square root of 25 over pi. How do I do that on my calculator? The same way I would do everything on my calculator. I find 25 divided by pi and get an answer, and then I find the square root of that answer, which is 2.82. Volume of a sphere. The volume equals 4 pi r cubed over 3. The volume is 7,602. So 7,602 equals 4 pi r cubed over 3. How do I get rid of divided by 3? I multiply by 3. Gone, gone. 3 times 7,602 equals 4 pi r cubed. How do I get rid of 4 times 4 and times pi? I divide by 4 pi, so I divide by 4 pi. Gone, gone. R cubed equals 3 times 7,602 divided by 4 pi. So r cubed equals, and I'm going to go to my calculator now, 3 times 7,602. I didn't use brackets, so I had to hit equals, divided by bracket 4 pi equals 1814.84. So I'm going to come over here and write 1814.84. Now, since it's cubed, I must need the cubed root instead of a square root. Many of you probably haven't seen that, and you won't know how to do it on your calculator. For me, it's a real pain. I got to go here. There is my cubed root, 4. Cube root, and since it's that answer, I can use my answer key to get 12.19, which is 12.2. Turn the page over. I have h equals negative 4.9t squared plus 12t plus a. And h, that should have been a highlighter. H is 100. So 100 equals negative 4.9t squared plus 12t plus a. Now it says find a. Can you find a here? No. Why? There's 2 unknowns. So all you can do is isolate a. So this is negative 4.9t squared, so I add 4.9t squared. This is positive 12, so I subtract positive 12t. Since I added 4.9 to this side, I have to add it to this side, 4.9t squared. Since I took away 12 there, I have to take away 12 there. And there's already 100 on this side. All of that equals a. And that's done. Solve for x. Solving for x means isolate x. So a equals square root of 2x plus 4. Well, if you have a squared, but you need a, you know you square root it. Well, that must mean if I have the square root of a, I square it. So if I square this side, I'm going to get 2x plus 4, because that is the opposite of square root. But if I square the right side, I got to square the left side, a squared. then I just do algebra. Minus 4, a squared minus 4 equals 2x. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X equals a squared minus 4 over 2. And lastly, I need x by itself. That is divided by 4. So I have x divided by 4 equals 23. How do I get rid of divided by 4? I do the opposite of what I see. The 4's cancel. X equals 23 times 4 is 92. Now, over here, x is on the bottom. I don't want x on the bottom. I want x by itself. So I multiply this side by x because it's got to move. Anything that moves, I have to do the opposite. So this is divided by x. Multiply by x, now they cancel, and I get 60. If I multiply the left side by x, I got to multiply the right side by x. 5x. Now I got to divide. 12 equals x. And all of you should have noticed the double shortcut. When the x is in the numerator, I can multiply times. When the x is in the denominator, I need to divide. And there's a little shortcut that will help you immeasurably in the next unit. When you mark this, every square is worth 1 mark on the front of the page, on page 43. If you have something close to what I have, because I have shown every single step as I asked you to do, then you may give yourself a half a mark. Is that clear? All right. Now, I did say I was going to walk around and see how much people had done, so if you lied and said you got 21 and 21, but half your pages were blank, I would catch you. But I was talking to people right at 12:40, so I don't have time to do that. There are the answers highlighted in blue. Every single step that you needed to go through is written on my sheet of paper. If you do not have the answer that I have in blue, then you missed one of the steps. This has been recorded, and you can go back and look at all of those steps. Okay? Any questions? Dan?
So one of the three, you got 3.81. I got 3.82.
Great. Fine. No problem. Do not bother writing down the right answers now. We do not have time for that because I will need to explain stuff to you. This is recorded so you can go and write the right answers down at a later date. That is out of 9. Give yourself a mark. All you need to be doing is going tick or X. It should take about 20 seconds. Moving along. I will accept for these two rulers 4 5/8 to 4 3/4 and 9/16 to 11/16. Any number in there because the photocopying was a little crappy. The right answers are highlighted in blue, but I will accept anything between 5/8 and 3/4.
I have 4 and 2 and 6,
6/8?
Yeah.
That's 3/4.
Okay.
But you would never say 6/8 because that's not in simplest terms. And down at the bottom here, I am painting my walls. There are 4 walls. Wall 1 is 4 meters by 3 meters, which is 12. But there's 2 of them, so times 2, 24 meters. The second wall is 3 meters by 3 meters, which is 9, but there's 2 of them because Billy does not live on television. There are 4 walls in his room. 24 and 18 is 42. Billy bought cheap paint. he needs to paint 3 coats. So he needs to paint 42 times 3, which is 126 meters. Each liter of paint covers 12 meters. So I do 126 divided by 12, which gets me 10.5. But I cannot go to Home Depot and say, "Dude, I need a half a can of paint." I have to buy the whole can of paint. So I need to buy 11 cans of paint.
6 liters.
Again, all the steps are there, read from the question. I even reminded you he's not painting the floor or the ceiling.
If he was painting the floor and ceiling, would he need 66 liters?
I don't know. Then he would have needed another 24, 72. He would have needed another 72. No.
Okay.
I have color-coded these for you. The bottom is red ink. Yes, Joseph?
For the last one, it asks how many liters of paint. It doesn't say how many cans, so I got 10.5.
Great. Give yourself a mark. I don't care. The bottom is in red. It is not times 2 because it doesn't repeat. The orange rectangle, there are 2 of them, so it repeats. 8 by 4 by 2. The yellow rectangle, there's 2 of them, so it repeats. You do all the math and you add it up to get 609. If you did some of those rectangles and you multiplied some of them by 2 and you added those up, you get half a mark. If you got to 609, you get a whole mark.
So,
Each of these is worth 1.
so 8 times 4, and then 8 times 4 is 32, because 16 plus 16 is 32.
Okay.
Is that because...
8 times 4 is 32. That's length times width of the orange rectangle.
Okay, yeah.
And there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
8 by 4 by 2.
Yeah.
The volume of every prism is the area of the base times the height. The area of the base is, on mine, green and orange. So I found the orange area, which was 32. The green area, which was 12.5. I added them together to get 44.5. Then I multiplied by the, oops, that's not a highlighter. Then I multiplied by 20 and got 890. This question, I did the thing that I showed you how I like to do this question. I imagined the whole thing, which is right there. 8, 4, and 18. But then I remembered that these green rectangles aren't actually there, are they? So I subtracted them out to get 460. You also could have added up all the shapes. It would have taken you a buttload more time. If you added them up right, you would have gotten 460. And then, as always, area of the base times the height. The base I've highlighted in blue. 9 by 4 is 36. 9 by 2 is 18. 36 and 18 is 54 times the direction it repeats, 8, which I've highlighted in yellow. 54 by 8 is 432.
Oh, okay.
It's recording.
Yeah.
The surface area of a cylinder is simply a formula from your sheet. Fill it in. I gave you a height. I gave you a radius. Just fill it in. I will accept 200 pi or 628.3. Do not care. Making that page out of 5 because 31 was a bonus question. Nobody came up to me with an answer. That's how you'd find it. It's recorded if you wish to learn. It's really, really hard. There is no need to be that good there. That's why it's a bonus question. And I put it in the middle instead of at the end to see how many people would not do the work that counts so they could get 10 gummy bears, so I could learn them a lesson.
Water?
The volume of the water.
Oh, okay.
If you want to know how that works, I'll explain it tomorrow.
Okay.
32, you had to do two things. You had to draw the net, which is a circle and a section of a circle. Then you had to find the surface area, which was just filling in a formula. You get 1 for the net and 1 for the number. I will accept both numbers. For 33, I needed the surface area and the volume. Volume, I will accept 29,269 and 1/3 pi. I will accept 29,269, 69.3 repeating pi. And I will accept 91,952.32 pi. I do not care which one of those three. That's volume. See how the V is there? Surface area. I will accept 1,296 pi, or I will accept 4,071.5 pi, making that out of 2, making the whole thing out of 21.
So easy. It's so simple, but we make it so difficult.
I cannot get in your people's brains. There.
We overthink things.
That's what you do. I don't know how to help you with that. Except to tell you 1,000,000 times, do not lawyer ball. Do not look for technicalities.
Do you overthink in any situation?
I try to avoid it. But I also have had 28 more years of practice than you. I will get these marks from you tomorrow. Now, some of you will be aware that I said we were having a test on Thursday. Based on my walking around today, that is a foolish thing for me to do. But I cannot stop. So, tomorrow we will be reviewing algebra, because you cannot do our next unit if you are bad at algebra. Then we will start our second unit on Friday. Monday is a bad day to give you a test. I've been teaching for 28 years, or been teaching for 20 years. I know Mondays are a bad day to give a test. So your test on this unit will be Tuesday. But does that mean we can sit around and do nothing Monday? No, I will continue to be working on Unit 2. This is your review. Tavi. 21. 21. 21. Every question you answered was worth 1 mark.